Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم من همزه ونفخه ونفثه. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على نبيه ومصطفاه سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. My dear viewers, welcome to another live edition of our program Ask Huda. And I want to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for making it easy for all of us to continue airing our programs even from home. Alhamdulillah, fil ula wal akhirah. And allow me to remind with our phone numbers. Today we're using only two phone numbers, the WhatsApp numbers. We don't have landlines. So the phone numbers beginning with the area code are 001, then 347 806 0025. The other phone number beginning with area code 001 361 489 1503. I'd like to remind you that inshallah we're going live, but not from the studio. So if there is any flow or any drawback, pardon us for that. Our phone numbers are working, and we'll be more than happy to start collecting your questions and concerns, inshallah azza wa jal. Also, I'll be more than happy to start taking the questions from the page. I believe we're live on both my Facebook page and the YouTube channel, as well as Huda TV YouTube channel. So feel free to deposit your questions, inshallah. Meanwhile, let me begin by tackling some of the pending questions. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
Hello.
Yes, assalamu alaikum. Name and where are you calling from, please? Yes. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Musaddiq from India. Go ahead, Akhi. What is your question?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. I hope you wouldn't mind.
Go ahead, please, quickly.
Okay. My first question is, what extent a child, be it a son or daughter, has right to interfere in the personal matters of parents when he is sure that one of his parents is wrong in terms of his attitude towards the other partner?
Okay, that's your question. Your second question, please, Musaddiq.
Yeah, my second question is that these are most of the ulama, the followers, the contemporary ones, they go, live on social media channels like Facebook, like Instagram, and in between I have seen like those people, they also invite other of their followers to join, and sometimes it goes to the extent where other non-Muslim people join, and they without any proper hijab.
Got your question. Okay. I got both your questions, Musaddiq. Got your question. Thank you. Zana wa iyakum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Name and where are you from, please?
Sorry?
What is your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Kiyom.
Qayyum. Okay.
Kiyom, yes.
What is your question?
My question was about, for example, IVF. I guess you know what is IVF is. IVF, when you're doing IVF.
Okay.
Do you know what is it, or should I explain it?
If you're talking about the in vitro fertilization?
Yes, brother. Yes.
Okay. So you're asking about the ruling?
For example, in my country, for example, when you go to do, IVF, we don't have a room, for example, when you go, you have to give a sperm, right? So, to give a sperm, you have to, in here, you have to masturbate.
I got your question. Yes.
And then I'm just asking if it's okay or not. Is it considered to be a sin or something?
Okay, got your question, Qayyum. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. What is your question, brother, and what is your name? Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, Sheikh. This is Zinia from USA. My question is, there are a lot of posts I've been seeing on social media that the world is coming to an end. So I wanted to know, what do you have to say about that? And what are the signs that when the world will come to an end, what are the signs will be? Thank you.
That is Sister Zinia, correct?
Yes.
Zinia from the USA. Okay, I got your question. And the brothers and the sisters who are watching us on the YouTube or the social media, my Facebook page, can you hear the calls of the callers and their questions, or do I have to repeat them again? I would appreciate if you can share with me on my page, you can just simply type number 1 if you can hear. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Name and where you're from, please.
I'm
Muzdayir?
Yes, I'm Muzdahir from Bangladesh.
Okay, what is your question, Muzdayir?
Sheikh, I have 2 questions. The first is there any prohibition of wearing masks during Salah in this time when we are facing the coronavirus?
Okay, any other questions?
Yes, Sheikh. And the second question is about Salatul Ghaib. Are we allowed to pray Salatul Ghaib for the deceased who have passed away
Yes.
Due to this virus?
Got your questions, Muzdayir from Bangladesh. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. I'm Idris calling from Pakistan.
Go ahead, Idris, please.
Basically, I have 3 questions which are short, as you have mentioned. You like short questions.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
My first question was, Ya Sheikh, is posting pictures online on social media, is it correct or not? And my second question was, when my family members or friends, when they finish praying, they bow down after the prayer is finished for extra dua, as they mentioned themselves.
Okay. Got your questions, Idris.
Not to do so.
Okay.
And my third question was, my grandmother has passed away like a year before. And what are the deeds that we can convey to her? Like, what are we supposed to do for her to be good in the hereafter?
Got your questions, Idris from Pakistan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Go ahead, sister. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. I hear
Can
you.
I speak to Brother Salah?
You're live on Ask Huda. Go ahead, sister. Introduce yourself, please.
Yes, I am Fawzia from UK, and my question is that sometimes I work like cash in hand by doing some babysitting of parents for their children. And in this country, basically, you have to pay tax, but sometimes I'm not paying tax. It's just because for my tax, the parents, the employer is responsible. But they said they don't want to pay, they prefer cash in hand because it's too difficult. So in that case, would my job be halal if I do this babysitting or child care? So if you just clarify that.
Okay, thank you, Sister Fawzia from the UK. Okay, good. I'm glad you can hear the question, so I don't have to repeat the Musaddiq, the first caller, said that what is the proper way to pay an advice to one's parents, or one is not allowed to advise his parents? As a matter of fact, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in the sound hadith of Tamim ibn Aus, أن الدين النصيحة. قلنا لمن يا رسول الله؟ قال لله ولرسوله ولكتابه ولأئمة المسلمين وعامتهم. So according to the hadith, we're supposed to enjoin what is good and forbid what is evil and advise one another, even if it is to the elders, seniors, teachers, shuyukh, imams, but of course with the proper way. We have ayah number 125, Surah An-Nahl, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmati wal maw'izati al hasana." So whenever giving da'wah to anyone, you should use the most wise way, which will make them actually accept your advice, not ward them off and make them abhor the way you're preaching them and accordingly object to the message itself. So when talking to parents, it must be done indirectly, like we pray Jama'ah, and between the Salah and the Sunnah, I quote a hadith. I say, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, لا تشبهوا الوتر بالمغرب. You shouldn't pray witr similar to Maghrib. So this way, I explain the hadith that we should pray witr different than Maghrib. I'm just giving you an example. So this way, we still advise, but in a nice way. A way that is not offensive, a way that doesn't lead to warding them off and putting them away. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum, you're live.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Sister, yes, go ahead. What is your name?
Yes, my name is Madiha. I'm calling from Malaysia.
Okay, Sister Madiha, you're live on Ask Huda. Go ahead.
Yes, I have three questions. My first question is that I've grown up seeing US do injustice and corrupt things against Muslims and many other problems that Muslim world is facing today. And on top of that, they've been pushing a very immoral culture throughout the world. So is it okay for us Muslims to see this pandemic as a way that Allah is punishing them? I'm not talking about the believers, but as a whole, the situation. The second question that I have is that is it allowed to pray against an oppressor who is Muslim? The third question I have is just a request from you. Could you make a very small video for the Muslim Ummah about an action plan and pointers that we as an Ummah do that we can do to come out of this pandemic? I'm saying short so that it's easy to share around and people are into watching it.
All right. Thank you, Sister Madiha from Malaysia. Thank you. Musaddiq's second question, when the family and extended family members meet on the social media, like now, we're going live and we are on different media platforms. We're on Zoom, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and we're live on the screen. A group of Dawah yesterday were going live and it was on the Zoom. Then an intruder hacked their account and started airing some porn pictures and so on. Why am I saying that? What I'm saying that is whenever we are appearing on the social media, it's like we're sitting physically. So my cousin is supposed to wear a scarf or a hijab before me. She's not allowed to sit without hijab because she is on a virtual world or on the camera or in a family gathering. Whatever is halal in a physical meeting, it is halal on the virtual meeting. And whatever is not permissible on a physical meeting, then it is not permissible on a virtual meeting. We do nowadays meet and socialize the extended family, but if there are women, they would wear proper hijab as they are sitting exactly physically before other men. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum. Go ahead.
Basically, I didn't have any questions. I have a small request from you.
Mm-hmm.
The request is whenever you mention a hadith, whenever you say, please can you give us the reference number of the same hadith, because for our more information we would like to see the hadith. That's the request I had.
Got your question. Barakallah fikum. So our brother is asking me to mention the reference, the number of the hadith, the page number, the number of the hadith. In Ask Huda, to be honest with you, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to take the risk of quoting a number which may not be accurate, and this is already recorded. But in Gardens of the Pious, where I know beforehand, I will be discussing hadith number 1375, chapter Babul Ilm, the book of knowledge, chapter the virtues of seeking knowledge. So I know, and it is in front of me for confirmation. When I'm speaking from the top of my head, somebody is calling right now and is asking, Sheikh, what is the reference that if we stay at home, during the crisis of the pandemic, we will receive the reward of shaheed? I don't know the wording of the hadith. Yes, I will be more than happy to quote the hadith. It is called collected by Imam Bukhari and Imam Ahmad in his Musnad. It is narrated by al-Mu'mineen Aisha radiyallahu anha. And she asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam about the plague or at-ta'un. He said it used to be a torment through which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will punish the perpetrators and the disbelievers. Then Allah has made it as means of mercy for his believing servants. Okay? Then he said, whenever it afflicts a city, so if they stay in their country, فَلَبِثُوا, they stay where they are. Whoever stays where he is, and they do not leave from their city, from their home, then فَلَهُ أَجْرُ شَهِيد, they shall receive a full reward of a shaheed. And the scholars say the Prophet ﷺ didn't specify that he has or she has to die so that they will receive the reward of shaheed. But he is talking about the importance of the quarantine. So being صابرا محتسبا يعلم أنه لا يصيبه إلا ما كتب الله له. He endures this hardship patiently, anticipating the promised reward from Allah, believing that nothing will afflict him except what Allah has preordained for him. Such person most certainly will receive the reward of shaheed, whether he dies in it and whether he survives. So I can share the hadith, but when you say give me the number, it will be a bit difficult. I don't want to risk it. So in the program of Guardians of the Pious, correct your recitation, would be more than happy to do that. But when answering questions live from top of your head, it is not feasible. Barakallahu fikum, akhi. The following question is from Qayyum, the in vitro fertilization. And we said, what is the hukm of that, process to begin with? If a couple who have been trying through normal and natural ways to have a child and it did not work out, so we said it becomes permissible, provided you have to make certain you have an honest and trustworthy Muslim doctor. Because the idea of inoculating the sperms of other than the husband in the womb of a woman, assuming that she's received the sexual discharge for the sperm of her husband, and it's not his, actually it's very common in the USA. It's common in Europe. It's common because non-Muslims care less about that. So it must be done by a Muslim, an honest and trustworthy practicing Muslim doctor, okay, and under their supervision. And it should be done by a female because this is looking at the awra. The second part of the question, how to get the sexual discharge of a male, which would require, as the brother said, masturbation, okay? The scholars spoke about that and they said if it is done by the woman, by the husband's wife, it is definitely permissible. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam, ya Sheikh.
Now, go ahead.
It is Baba Ghana from China.
Baba Ghana from China, mashallah. Baba Ghana, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm doing good. Alhamdulillah.
Are you still in lockdown in China?
Yeah, it's locked down. We are in school.
May Allah make it easy for you. Go ahead, Baba Ghana. What is your question?
My question is, is it allowed for a Muslim to eat meat which is not slaughtered by a Muslim, like a country in China, like in China?
China? Okay. I got your question, Baba Ghana from China. Just allow me to answer the questions in the same order they were received. Zina from the USA, the sister asked about, is what we're experiencing considered to be the end of life? Are we approaching the end of life? Are we coming close to the day of judgment? Well, as far as coming close to the end of life, every moment that passes by, it brings us closer to the end of life. But is this particular event considered one of the major signs of the day of judgment? No, it is not. And as I said, inshallah, once I recover a little bit because I wasn't feeling well, we'll start a series on the journey to the hereafter, where we'll discuss of the day of judgment, whether the minor or the major signs, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. You're live on Ask Huda. Can you hear me? Wa alaikum salam, sister. Go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
I am Mills from Austria.
Okay, Mills from Austria. Go ahead.
Yes, I would like to ask the Muslims in our where I live. They sometimes make congregations. I don't know the English word, but Muslims in a room, men and women, and it is mixed. So the men aren't properly in the first row and the female in the back. It is a mix, and I always sometimes I say I don't want to come because you mix. Is it okay, or do I do fitna?
You mean that they do that in the congregational prayer or in regular gatherings?
Gathering, yes, gathering.
Okay, thank you, Sister Mel from Austria. Barakallah fikum. You'll hear the answer, inshallah, in the same order your question was received. Thank you, Mel from Austria. I gotta write down because as you grow old, you tend to forget fast. Okay. Muzayif from Bangladesh had two questions. Is it permissible to wear mask during the prayer? Well, in these circumstances, yes, and furthermore, you should. Okay, because in the countries which they still allow the congregational prayers and people get so close, then you should be wearing mask in the prayer, inshallah. You know that happens when you forget to mute your computer. Okay. So the second question is Salatul Ghaib. Salatul Ghaib. Yeah, when I started not feeling well a couple of days ago, I decided to keep myself in the bedroom for a while because I have elder parents, particularly my mother, who's very vulnerable. Well, alhamdulillah, I'm getting very better. Alhamdulillah, it's not like it was just some symptoms. So I decided to take precaution. The second question, Salatul Ghaib. What is Salatul Ghaib? Or the word Ghaib means the absentee, somebody who is not present. Nowadays, it breaks one's heart to see or to hear that somebody was not able to give a last look to his loved one. They got infected, they were tested positive, they were put in the hospital in quarantine, then قدر الله ما شاء فعل, they died, and then they were buried, and no one even got to see them or know where they're buried. It is very unfortunate, very, very unfortunate. Under regular circumstances, we wouldn't have done that, of course. Some relatives, I heard that the man died and the wife and the kids were tested positive, so they are isolated and they couldn't even say goodbye to their father. She couldn't say goodbye to her life mate, her husband. May Allah have mercy on him. So every time I hear that somebody died, even if I don't know that person, I gather my family members, and once in the channel, I gather the crew, and we pray Salatul Janazah, the funeral prayer for the absentee, for somebody who died, and no one got to pray Janazah for them. And I encourage everyone to be more active in Salatul Ghaib. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did so when An-Najashi, the Abyssinian king, died, and then no one in Abyssinia knew that he had accepted Islam. So the Prophet ﷺ ordered the companions to line up, and he led the funeral prayer for him. He was in Medina while An-Najashi was in Abyssinia. So it is recommended to offer Salatul Ghaib. Okay? Barakallahu fikum. Ameen. Idris from Pakistan, posting pictures online. What do you see right now? You see me. If you're dressed up properly, so whatever you can see physically, then it is permissible to show on the virtual world, on the social media. The niyyah also plays a very important role. When somebody is shown pictures with the intention of showing off, then this is not permissible, exactly like in the physical world. A person is showing his wife and so on the social media, or a woman is posting her pictures. No. Somebody who's posting the picture of his family and his kids and all of that, I beg you not to do that, especially with the belonging, the car, the house, the wife, the children, because there's something called hasad, envy, and there's something called the evil eye. And they're not the same. The evil eye is different than the hasad. Inshallah, hopefully some other time we'll have a whole episode to address that and the difference between both of them and how to prevent and protect oneself against them. But the bottom line is, why do you expose yourself where some people cannot even find a single meal or proper clothes or proper housing? So that's why I'm saying post whatever you think it is necessary to deliver the message. Barakallahu fikum. Ameen. I'm sorry I did not take many calls, but inshallah we'll open the phone lines now. We're having just 5 more pending questions. Idris also said in Pakistan, he's calling from Pakistan, he says some people after they offer the fard namaz, they make an independent sajda, they prostrate themselves in order to make dua. Is that permissible? No, this is not permissible, and this is an innovation. And there is no gray area in this respect, because when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said أقرب ما يكون العبد من ربه وهو ساجد, that is in the salah, in the namaz itself. You are the closest to Allah whenever you prostrate yourself within the salah. But there is no sujood outside the salah except sujood al-shukr, the prostitute for the prostration, when one prostrates himself or herself in order to give thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's called the prostration or sujood for shukr or gratitude upon receiving good news or upon being saved from a calamity. Some people would argue and say, yes, I was prostrating myself after every prayer to give thanks to Allah for giving me health, for keeping me wealthy, for no, Habib. Sujood al-shukri is prescribed upon receiving a ni'mah or upon being protected from a calamity. So you fall in prostration, not after every salah. The second prostration is, or sujood, is sujood al-sahw, which may be done after the prayer. And these are 2 prostrations. And the third prostration, which is separate from the salah, is upon reciting an ayah which encourages sujood. Okay? فَاسْجُدْ وَقَتَرِبْ. So there is a command of sujood. It's recommended to make sujood though. Besides that, what some people do after every prayer, they make dua in their sujood and independent sajda. That is not permissible. His grandmother passed away. May Allah have mercy on her. What can we do best in order to benefit her and give her some reward after death? The Prophet ﷺ answered this question, brothers and sisters. So number 1, dua, dua, dua. That's number 1, 2, and 3. Yes, indeed, because it doesn't cost you anything. So make dua for the deceased, for the dead people. Make dua for them. The Prophet ﷺ said in the sound hadith, when somebody sees his position being promoted in paradise, he's asking Allah, my Lord, what for? And he will be answered, بِدُعَاءِ وَلَدِكَ لَكَ, because your child has been making dua for you. And the Prophet ﷺ said, when the servant of Allah dies, all his deeds come to end except from 3 ways, and he counted from them, أَوْ وَلَدٍ صَالِحٍ يَدْعُو لَهُ, a righteous child to make dua for him. This dua can be done by the child, by the cousin, by somebody who's totally stranger. It doesn't matter. It will benefit the dead. And that's why it is prescribed to offer Salatul Janazah. Salatul Janazah, because it's about dua, making dua for the deceased. MashaAllah, if you miss and you love your grandma so much, and you can afford to build a masjid in her name, to dig a water well on her behalf, all of that is great. If you can, then buy some Quran and distribute it. Do invest in something which is called Sadaqah Jariyah. You know what is really funny about going live from home is when they're cooking at home, you smell the food and you feel like, okay, I want to wrap it up. And this is what is happening right now. But we still have about 20 minutes, inshallah, so I can manage to be patient until we finish. Sister Fawziya from the UK, she is a babysitter in the UK. The parents say, I will pay you cash. Why? Because they want to skip paying taxes or whatever. Is there anything haram for her? No. The person who's making the violation is the person who's blameworthy. But you are getting paid for your job. Okay? You're paying your zakah on your money if you have any money which is zakatable. But be careful. Don't put yourself in any trouble with the law. Okay? So it becomes haram if you expose yourself to any harm. Okay? Barakallahu fiki. So you would need to consult your CPR or your accountant in this respect. Bismillah. Yeah. I mean, water will do it for now. But inshallah, soon we get to. Okay. Sister Madiha from Malaysia. She says, we grew up watching the amount of filth that is done in the West, you know, the illicit relations, the drinking, the oppression, and all of that. So can we say what is happening, this pandemic outbreak of COVID-19, could it be punishment? As a matter of fact, on Wednesday, we had a webinar, and it was also live on my page in order to answer some of these questions, whether this is a punishment or a test. And in brief, Aisha radiallahu anha narrated that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, it is a means of punishment for the perpetrators, for the criminals, for those who transgress against Allah's limits. And it is a means of mercy for the believers. So for the believers who repent and who take heed and who bear that patiently, they will be rewarded the reward of shaheed, as I mentioned a few minutes ago in the sound hadith. But for the criminals, those who were challenging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, somebody who's an oppressor, hurting innocent people, beating and torturing and imprisoning innocent Muslims, then he got infected and he died. He's going to hell. So that was a means of punishment. No questions asked. Somebody, alhamdulillah, was going for Umrah and on the way picked up the virus and he tested positive. And his last words was, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. He died with the same, he was diagnosed with the same diagnosis. And he died for the same cause, for the same reason. He's a shaheed. And this is what the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said. In the hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, عجبا لأمر المؤمن إن أمره كله له خير. I'm sorry I've been missing your calls, but I will start taking the calls inshallah, I promise. He said how excellent, how amazing is the condition of the believer. Whenever good touches him, he is grateful and that is good for him. And whenever bad or evil or adversity touches him, that too is good for him if he is patient. And no one behaves like that but the believer. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You're live on Ask Huda. Go ahead. Assalamu alaikum. Go ahead, please.
Sheikh, I have two questions. First is, are we allowed to read Quran within our heart, or we have to open our mouth and then read it loud?
Okay. Any other questions?
Which of the two is correct? Yeah. The second question is, are we allowed to pray for divorce, because it is something which is hated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So are we allowed to pray for divorce?
For divorce or for the universe?
For divorce.
Divorce. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Your name, please. Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Name and question, please.
Hello.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Hold on one second, please. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Sheikh, I was talking and then the phone hung up.
It's okay.
I have a question.
Yes. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from you. My name is Huda Apr.
Sister Hawa, go ahead.
Yes, I have a question. I'm trying to pay a just remember. And also, I've been paying every year according to what people tell me. Like if I have a gold, if I want to sell it today, if it is per gram is $55, that's how they told me to pay of it. But yesterday, one of my friends said that you pay like if you was going to sell, how much they will buy from you. If the gold price is 55 and I want to sell my gold, I don't sell it by 55. They buy from me like 35 per
Okay.
gram.
Okay.
So she told me this is how you're going to pay. But I just want to make sure.
Okay. Got your question, Sister Hawa from the US. Got your question. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Sheikh.
Yes. Your name and where are you from, please?
It is Baba Gana from China.
Okay, go ahead.
My question is, I say, like in China where we are living, so there is some people, they used to show us a meat and they say that this one, it has been slaughtered by with the name of Allah, and then which is we are just determining that it is not true, but are we allowed to eat which we have been taught that it is slaughtered by the name of Almighty? Are we allowed to eat that meat, or we should disagree with them?
Okay, got your question, Baba Ghana. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, I'm sorry I missed that call. Please try again. All right, Sister Madiha from Malaysia. Her second question is, are we allowed to supplicate against the oppressors? Yes, you're allowed. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised that a supplication by an oppressed person against his oppressor is to be answered sooner or later. And there are no barriers between the dua of the Mazlum, the oppressed, until it reaches to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then he says, I swear to my honor and majesty, I shall answer you and support you even after a while, based on Allah's wisdom. Even if the oppressor is Muslim, you should only seek the help of Allah, not only be oppressed and be quiet as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لا يحب الله الجهر بالسوء من القول إلا من ظلم. So when a person is oppressed and he's talking about his mazlama and he's complaining whether to Allah or to a higher authority, that is perfectly permissible. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, please try again. Yes, with regards to the third question, we all are encouraged to invoke Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to relieve us out of this pandemic infection, and to pray for the whole world, because safety and afiyah for the entire world is safety and afiyah for the believers as well. Baba Ghana from China, he had two questions. Basically, they revolve around halal meat and the meat which is served in China. But let's take this call first. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. My name is Samira. I'm calling from New York.
Okay, Sister Samira, go ahead.
Yes. I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Is it okay to use a handbag that has a design of butterflies on it?
Okay.
That's my question.
Okay, thank you,
Do you
Sister.
understand my question?
Yes, I did understand your question.
Okay, thank you, Sheikh.
Thank you.
May Allah bless you. May Allah bless you.
You too, Sister Samira.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, Sister Samira from New York. Thank you so much. Baba Ghana from China. The answer to your question is whether you're living in America, whether you live in Inca or Egypt, or whether you live in China is the same. If the meat has been slaughtered by either a Muslim or a Kitabi, a person who is Jewish or Christian, then it is slaughtered, not killed. MashaAllah. Say Bismillah and eat. You don't have to ask them whether you said Bismillah or not good. So he'd say Bismillah and eat. And this is what the Prophet ﷺ said to Aisha radiallahu anha. But whenever you are in a country where you know that predominantly they are non-Muslims, they're not even Christians or Jews, they don't slaughter, they kill. And they confuse the meat, which is slaughtered, in the slaughterhouse, slaughtered under same conditions for other amazing living creatures that they eat. Then you have to be very careful. So if it is not slaughtered by a Muslim authority or by somebody whom you trust, don't eat it. So there are halal meat stores. Once there is one authority, an umbrella, that they inspect the way they slaughter and they verify and they surprise them with their visits every now and then to make certain that, because sometimes when people in business, they take it lightly and they say, it is the same. No, it's not the same. ولا تأكلوا مما لم يذكر اسم الله عليه وإنه لفسق. So we're not supposed to eat from such meat unless if it was slaughtered by a Muslim or a Kitabi. In the case of Muslim, we should mention the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If he or she while slaughtering, they forgot to say the name of Allah, still halal to eat it, and you just say Bismillah on your own. Sister Mel from Austria says sometimes the Muslim community, they get together, and when we get together, the men and women in the room are mixed, okay, and they take it lightly. So I feel that I don't want to attend. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. The free mixing, even in the salah, is not permissible. Okay, there is no point, there is no need, there is no necessity. But if the sisters are sitting on one side and the brothers on one side, we're attending a function. Great. In Islam, it's not permissible to sit and a woman will come and sit next to me. Why? Because she's my sister in Islam and we're listening to the Shaykh. No, that's not permissible. You sit next to your wife, your daughter, your mother, your sister. But the sisters, it is best that they sit. It's not best that the other option is permissible. No. The free mingling is not permissible. And it is more worthy for the Muslim community that they have in their gatherings, whether in the prayer or in the ta'aleem or Salatul Eid or whatever function, that if it is the same home, one side is for the ladies, one side is for the brothers. Okay, barakallahu fikum. Sister Mel from Austria. The following caller was asking about reciting Quran by the heart. Is that considered a recitation? It is pondering, but it is not a recitation. The recitation, فَإِذَا قَرَأْتَ الْقُرْآنَ, الْقِرَاءة is as you see me moving my tongue and lips. Even if you don't hear me talking, at least I know that I'm talking. I am pronouncing the letters. So I'm pronouncing the letters from their articulation points. Whether I can hear myself or nobody can hear me, but I'm reading. So that is a reading with the tongue, with the lips. But if the person is only looking by the eye and reading by the heart, he is contemplating, he is pondering, he will be rewarded. But this is nothing compared to the word of the recitation of the Quran, in which Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu narrated that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, من قرأ حرفا من كتاب الله فله به حسنة والحسنة بعشر أمثالها. The recitation of a single letter of the Quran gives you a word, and each word will be multiplied tenfold. So each single letter that you read in the Quran, you receive 10 good deeds for it. You know, if you recite the Quran from cover to cover, this is approximately 3.5 million hasana for good deeds for the recitation of the Quran. His second question, can one invoke Allah for divorce? Wallahi, if divorce is the last resort, it is permissible. The Prophet ﷺ divorced some of his wives. Divorce is prescribed whenever it is the last resort, right? With certain etiquette. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَإِمْسَاكٌ بِمَعْرُوفٍ أَوْ تَسْرِيحٌ بِإِحْسَانٍ. If you think life has become impossible and you reach a point where it's irrevocable, then may Allah make it easy for you and for your partner to resolve this marriage. Um, Sister Hawa from the USA, zakat on gold. Well, it's not only gold, Sister Hawa. I pay zakat, for instance, for my wife if she has any gold. How much do you have, honey? Well, I have, let's say, uh, 90 grams of gold, mashallah. And how much I have of money, saving, investment, whatever, total worth couple hundred grams of gold. Okay, so I check out online how much the gold prices, and I pay the zakat based on that. I know that when you come to sell the gold, there is a little depression if the gold is being manufactured. Okay, some of the gold, the jewelry, has some diamonds and some stones which may not have the same price like gold. We don't pay zakah on those stones anyway. We pay the zakah on gold alone. So that will be excluded. But you pay zakah on the current value of the gold, whichever you read online or when you ask in the shop. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance and you
say, oh, but this one is a Maududi and this one is a Tablighi, you shouldn't be going to this one, you shouldn't be going to that one. And it never really happened. And now I really want to turn back to Quran and really learn what I'm reading in Quran, be able to understand it. And I just need some help if you would be able to just suggest something to me.
طيب, barakallahu fiki. Thank you, sister. I didn't get your name, but that's okay. Barakallahu fiki. Jazakallahu khairan. You gotta listen to the answer, inshallah. Shukran. Thank you. Alaikum salam. Sister Samira from New York had asked earlier about if she carries a purse which has some pictures of butterflies. If the picture is vague, is not with the very details where it shows the eyes and the head, then it is permissible. What is not permissible is carrying the images, the full image of a living creature. As you know that according to the vast majority of the scholars, we're not supposed to keep those images of any living creature, the full image. Barakallahu fikum. And now um, there was another sister who said that she comes from Pakistan and she wanted to know the proper way to study tafsir, because every time she starts, they warn her not to listen to this, not to read this scholar, and so on. So there are two ways to study tafsir on your own, my dear sister, and all of you brothers and sisters. Either via reading, and there is the abridged tafsir of Ibn Kathir. That will do it. Or, mashallah, there are many tafsir classes online. I'd like to begin by recommending watching all the episodes of Correct Your Citation, which are over, mashallah, 500 episodes. Okay, we covered 7 paras of the Quran. It's once a week. First segment is tafsir. So this is one thing. We do not reflect only one book, tens of books of tafsir, so that we simplify the meaning. There are many other brothers and sisters who are very active, Dr. Farhat Hashmi and others who are active online, and they have tafsir classes. So go ahead and attend their tafsir classes. Islamic Online University, they have tafsir courses. Mishka University have tafsir courses. So there are even some for free which are available. You just pick and choose a trustworthy scholar. You listen to his tafsir or her tafsir, and may Allah make it easy for you. Allow me, before we conclude, I need to look at a couple of questions that I received online. How if a husband is still chat with another woman, does her like this girlfriend, and he hides that from, what should the wife do? Well, if the wife knows that the husband is chatting with another woman, there is something called suspicion. Maybe this woman is either a co-worker or a student, a professional chatting. So this is the case. We know this is permissible. Okay, we all have colleagues at work and we have students. Unfortunately, I will not be able to take any further calls. We gotta keep it to the limit of time. So I do apologize. Maybe inshallah in the next episode, and we'll be live tomorrow inshallah for Gardens of the Pious as well, hopefully from home. So if this is the case, if he sees that he is going of the track and he is chatting with a private conversation which he's not supposed to go into this area, then you should confront him and say, honey, that would you like me to chat with another man other than you, and in the same format? Of course, no wise person, no honest person would accept that. So why do you do that? This is not permissible, because a husband and wife, parents and children, brothers and sisters were supposed to advise each other and enjoin each other to do what is good and forbid what is evil. Okay. Um, Sister Noor from Kenya, what is the best time to pray tahajjud? An hour before Fajr, Sister Noor. Otherwise, the whole night is a good time. But the last part of the night is the best time for tahajjud. Yes, Sister Fawziya, Sheikh is hungry. Yes, he is hungry. And it's not my fault. It is the smell of the food. And we're ready to conclude, inshallah. The sister Tahira Anjum, who asked about a particular hadith, the hadith is not sound, Sister Tahira. And you've asked this question so many times, so I hope the answer will suffice you now, because I did answer before your question a couple of times. No pain with thy sister Aisha is not permissible. And that is all the time we have. We'll take one more question from Sister Huma Malik, who says, can we give zakah to our parents, siblings, wife, husband, grandparents? Please guide. As zakah should be paid to those who are not under your guardianship. So I may pay zakah to my nephews and nieces because I'm not their guardian. I'm not supposed to provide for them. But paying zakah to one's parents is not permissible. To one's children is not permissible. Grandchildren is not permissible. Grandparents is not permissible. Brothers and sisters, yes, it is permissible. Nephews and nieces, cousins, permissible. Barakallahu feekum. By that, we'll come to the end of today's edition of Ask Huda. I thank you so much for your patience, and please include us in your dua. And those who are watching us live, whether on the page, on the Facebook or the YouTube, your feedback would be highly appreciated. It's all done in a humble effort. I would appreciate your feedback and your comment on the quality of the audio, the video, and the whole thing all together. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pardon us and forgive us all our sins. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.